Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We are live.
What's up, Facebook?
Just waiting for some watchers.
Weight Watchers.
None of us need that. We're all perfectly
Yes,
fit and trim
I
here.
do.
I'm like a Greek freaking god.
Yeah, seriously.
I didn't say which one.
Ken, check your shoes. I think you stepped in some on the way in.
I did a 2.5 mile walk today.
Joseph Schultz. What's up, brother? Worshipful brother. We're going to fire this up in a minute. All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello and welcome to the Freemasons podcast. I'm your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Mudgery, and with me tonight,
Worshipful Brother Joe.
Worshipful Brother Ken.
tonight's topic is going to be a good one. It's going to be the P2 Lodge, also known as Propaganda Do. We're not going to go through all of our plugs. We're just going to say that if you know where to find us, freemasonspodcast.com, community page, fan page on Facebook. We're also on Discord, which we talk all day with. And on top of that, I just released a what we do on Patreon. And I did I was solo because Joe was stuck in traffic.
Happens.
Again, Ken, check your shoes. I think he stepped in something. He was at the Chinese food restaurant.
It's highly probable.
Not at the Chinese food restaurant.
But go on Patreon. You can catch extra episodes, including we get into esoteric as well as the reading of Morals and Dogma from Albert Pike. And if you're interested, pop on there. Sign up. It's less than, pretty much a freaking coffee.
It's less than a cup of coffee.
Well, it depends on where you buy your coffee from.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely
Cumberland
true.
Farms,
Yeah, truck
Starbucks,
stop.
definitely.
Yeah, so, all right. We're going to go into Facebook likes. Oh, we didn't charge any of our cannons.
Damn it, Ken.
Ken.
I'll take
Ken's
the
the cannon
for this
charger.
one.
What's up, Roger?
Roger.
Ginger ale coming at you.
I don't know how you sing a song, Roger.
I can make a song out of anything. I got that from my dad. I can literally make a song out of anything you want.
All right. So, I'm trying to remember where we left off.
I used to work with your dad.
Yes, you had mentioned that.
That was quite some time ago.
I won't mention the company
Yes,
name, but
Yes,
the
I
company.
look like I'm getting fat. No, I don't look like I'm getting fat. There's no looking about it. I've actually been running a lot. And
I
actually-
lost weight and you found it.
I actually went hiking with the kids a little while ago up at Naugatuck State Forest. They had fun. Right, guys? Mm-hmm. All right, so we're gonna go through likes, and again, if I double liked you, sorry, but let's see here. We have Robert Medrano, Corey Tharp, Helion Tarty, Jeremy Rixey, Joe Davis, and Vince Ramos. If I missed you or I did you twice, congratulations.
I think you got it right.
I think I got it right too.
Yep.
So we're all filled up. Ken, lead it.
All right. Brothers, right hand to arms.
Arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire. Good fire. Fire all. Together, brothers.
Vivat, vivat, vivat. All right.
See, that's nice. Smooth.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
not
it
bad.
was smoother than the regular.
Yeah, I think so too.
So Canada Dry Light, right? Canada Dry.
Canada Dry.
Yes.
Let's start with the dry stuff. Next thing we'll be talking about
Polar.
orange dry.
Orange dry.
I'm not getting back into that again. But let's see here. On trying to find if we have any more likes on Apple. As soon as my phone decides to cooperate.
You want to pass your
No, it's just not telling me.
Canon
It's just
over.
going to do whatever it wants to do.
it's like your kids.
It's like my kids, right? No, I'm trying to. Damn fruit flies. We're going to start this again, huh?
As soon as we start recording, they come out. I swear, they're coming out of the equipment.
I think so. Coming out of this old laptop.
Georgie,
Can you
could
guys
do me
get-
a solid? Could you grab me a paper towel or a napkin or something from there? Pretty please.
Can you guys
Thank
see if
you.
there's any Apple
Good
reviews?
man.
Because my phone just isn't cooperating.
I will hop in right now. Let's see what we can find.
Apple?
I could just tag into Ken's Wi-Fi
Thank
or
you,
his
brother. Appreciate
hotspot. What's your password?
Whoa,
again?
whoa, you'll just use anybody's hotspot?
Oh, my hotspot?
Yes. What's your password? again?
Joe's hair sucks.
Oh, okay. And if I decide to use Joe's, what's yours?
George is little.
So I take no flack at all. That's great.
Yeah, you get off scot free.
Yeah,
on a
you,
lot
do,
of
you
this
pretty much
crap.
do. All right, I can't get onto Apple, but
I think we need to go a whole
if you like this on Apple review,
Crap on Ken episode.
we'll get to it at some point tonight.
Rage Against the Tarwood
Yeah,
episode.
it's fun.
So got some new artwork coming out from Brother Peter Daigle, and I think you guys will like it when you see it. I'll show it to you later. I'm not going to reveal it yet because he's still in the process of working on it, but we're going to get to it.
Does it have to do with the Filipinos or?
No. It's actually
You missed
you've
that
seen it,
one,
Joe.
too.
Actually, it was all of
Oh,
us.
the one
Yeah, it
where
was
I look
really
like
good.
a musketeer.
Oh, I haven't seen this yet. This is
Yeah, I'll have to show it to you later. So let's see here.
While you're doing that, I'm looking up the Apple stuff.
That's fine because I'm looking for where we left off in George Washington's Rules of Civility, and for Masons and Life and in Lodge. And I'm trying to find where I left off. I had to we broke down everything a while ago. But okay, here we go. Number 106: set not yourself at the upper of the table, but if it be you your due. Oh God, try this again. Set not yourself at the upper of the table, but if it be your due, or that the master of the house will have it so, contend not, lest you should be trouble the company. Very old English. in
be
that
trouble.
one.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
bring trouble upon.
So that is to say, never assume a higher station or place of honor at a banquet. Wait patiently until the host directs you to your seat. No one is bothered if you are called up from a lower place to a higher, but many may be embarrassed if you forced from a higher seat to a lower seat. Fair enough. If you want to attribute that to Lodge, if you are a district deputy, just as an example, normally you're asked if you would like to sit in the east next to the master, but if he doesn't, don't make a big deal out of it. But also don't go plant your ass in the seat and him ask you to be removed.
Because that would be embarrassing.
That would be very embarrassing.
Well, during an official visit, they're actually offered the master's chair, as in you can preside over the meeting.
Right. And actually,
I've never actually seen them take him up on that offer.
district deputy could actually close the meeting.
Yep.
If you look at the district deputy manual, technically speaking, they are supposed to close the meeting, but
Really?
it doesn't really happen. At least that's the one I had when I had my district deputy, my booklet, pamphlet, whatever you want to call it. It was one of the things was the district deputy closed the meeting.
Supposed to close the meeting.
But
We saw that in the rules and regs.
well, it was during my first year. We'll leave that alone.
I don't see any new reviews on Apple. Do you?
Yeah, the most recent one I see is from
Nathan.
September 27th from Nathan, which
Yeah.
I think we've already.
Yeah, we've already covered that. All right. Well, either way,
Give us some reviews.
give us some reviews.
You have
Tell-
not reviewed us yet. Come on.
positive and constructive criticism, if negative. Greg Schultz, can you guys get some official Freemasons podcast cannons so we could toast at home with you too?
Oh.
Oh,
a great
that's an idea. We're gonna have to.
We don't have those up on the store?
No,
It's amazing.
Perhaps
No,
we
'cause
need.
the store is only a clothing line,
Oh,
but I can look for another glassware company that does it. And
I think you could do it through Zazzle. They might be able to do it. ZAZZLE.com, Zazzle. You can do it. They do stuff like that.
I was insane. You said Zazzle. I don't know. I thought a Dream of Genie or something. Just
You're thinking of Cinnamon Clandestine.
That's
That's where you were thinking.
Cinnamon Clandestine.
Oh yes, that's
I
his
wasn't
stripper
around for
name.
that. I like that.
It's a stripper name.
Stage name.
Hi
Stage
Rocco.
name.
What's up, brother?
We should have a stage name generator on our website. It's like all little bits and
Cinnamon.
phrases that we have, and it mixes it up.
You weren't here. I
Uh,
thought you were
I
here for
wasn't.
Cinnamon Clandestine.
I was not here for Cinnamon Clandestine.
Hey guys, your mom popped on.
My mom?
No,
No.
Hannah and George's mother. She has a great company called Unique. She sells makeup. So if there's any guys who want to give their wives, girlfriends a present, it's Unique. Samantha Fair, hit her up. Figure I'd throw a plug in there. Hi Sam. All right. Oh my God, Razzle Zazzle, the ginger nose.
This is Rocco. Actually,
That's
I
good.
think
What's
he
up,
wrote
Soren?
the Ginniger knows whatever the hell.
I got to
the
catch
gimmick
up.
is.
I'm behind here.
Greg Schultz. At first, I thought he said asshole.
That's my other website where you'll find clips from Cinnamon Clandestine.
Oh God! Don't start with your stripper name, please.
We could go back to Joe Norman.
Yeah, I know. You
anytime.
started this. He started the shit like
I didn't start
two
that.
episodes ago with the Cinnamon Clandestine.
He's
thing.
really good at coming up with
You're welcome.
funny names.
He is. All right, so let's get into it. Topic of the night: the P2 Lodge in Italy, also known as Propaganda Do. Ken, I know you did a lot of research. Why don't you start it off?
So I did a lot of background research on it.
What do
The
you
one
mean?
thing that I could never find out, and I'll get to it in a second, actually, but so Propaganda Do was the name of a Masonic lodge under the Grand Orient of Italy,
Correct.
which is the Grand Lodge, recognized Masons in Italy. I believe it was formed in 1877.
Yes,
it was
sir.
originally given the name Propaganda because at that time in history, the Grand Orient of Italy was just naming lodges. They weren't naming and numbering them like we do here. I'm guessing there were probably more than one lodge in Italy named Propaganda because at some point, I believe maybe it was in the 60s, they were redesignated Propaganda Do, which is the Italian 2, hence P2, Propaganda 2. Originally, it was a completely regular lodge. It was mostly populated by men of state and that had high up positions in the military in Italy.
Dan the Italian.
And Dan the Italian.
How is he not
His
here for
family-
this?
I don't know.
Dan, get your butt here.
We really
we
do
need
need more
we need,
Italians here for this.
we need an expert.
The Puerto Rican refers to as Italian.
yeah.
We present him as such.
He identifies
That's
as
Italian.
Italian.
I mean, he's got the Mario and Luigi look to him. I mean, you can't deny it.
A little bit. So anyway, there were a lot of there were Italian noblemen, from the original noble families in Italy that were members of this lodge. There were men that were high up in the government that were members of this lodge, and I believe the reason behind that had something to do with the fact that where it was located, these men couldn't go back home and join, visit their lodges regularly, so that they were going to this lodge on a regular basis. And obviously that has, I guess, in Italy during the time, it caused a lot of conversations to go on among all these high-ranking individuals. You could kind of imagine these are powerful guys that are in this lodge together, and one thing leads to another, and they do each other favors and stuff like that.
They start pushing the envelope of what.
Of what may be considered Masonic. Now, the one thing that I couldn't find any reference to whatsoever, all these sources talk about the fact that their charter was revoked.
Yes,
right?
it
So
was.
originally something happened. What? I don't quite know. Maybe you guys have some information on it, but in the 1970s, the late 60s and early 70s, the Grand Orient of Italy started preparing to expel and suspend the charter of this lodge, and eventually revoked the charter entirely and expelled all of the members of the lodge.
And that was in 1976 when they actually revoked the charter.
Right.
Now, all of the really, I'm sure we'll get into the mysteries and all of the crimes and stuff like that they were implicated in, but all of that happened after that point.
Right.
So it really kind of makes you wonder if they were just a regular lodge and then all of a sudden their charter was revoked and they went clandestine.
And
what was it that made the Grand Orient of Italy choose to do that? I couldn't find any information.
I found a little bit, and it says it talks about a guy named Gelli, Gelli, Gelli.
The master of the lodge.
Took a list of sleeping members not invited to participate in Masonic rituals anymore, as Italian Freemasonry was under close scrutiny by Christian Democrats in power. For these initial connections, Gelli was able to extend his network through the echelons of the Italian establishment. So this guy was kind of networking, kind of we're pushing the envelope. Again, Freemasonry doesn't recruit. This guy was actively going out after people, from what I've gathered. But again, very lucrative. So I think this one particular guy was kind of up to no good. But it says
And this was in the 60s.
This
when
was in the
when this
60s.
lodge was already principally comprised of powerful men. He
Correct.
was like, we're going to get some more.
The Grand Orient of Italy officially expelled Gielli, so they actually expelled him definitively. So he was the one who was they expelled him and the P2 Lodge in 1976. In 1974, it was proposed that P2 was erased from the list of lodges of the Grand Orient of Italy, and the motion carried overwhelmingly. So these guys were up to some shady shit, and the entire Grand Orient, which is the Grand Lodge of Italy, wiped them out. They said, nope, we're done. And they erased the entire lodge off the records. You have to be doing some pretty... Now, I also want to add to this. The reason why we're having so much trouble trying to find out why they were expelled is because Freemasonry is not going to be like, yeah, one of our lodges was having hookers and blow at a meeting. Like, they're going to keep that quiet. They're not going to spread that around, because then it makes the entire Grand Lodge look bad that they had a defunct lodge that was off doing whatever the hell it was doing.
Now, that's just an example that Drew's going
All
to
right, I'm going to be clear about that. It was an example. It was an example. Don't need to give any of our, YouTubers any more ammunition. No, no, there's going to be an example. The Grand Lodge is going to keep quiet about that lodge and the bad things that they were doing. But what they did was they dealt with it swiftly and definitively by expelling Gielli and the P2 Lodge, wiped them out, erased them off the record. They continued to be a lodge, and they were they now became clandestine.
Yep.
So, as an example, even if Morning Star has its charter pulled, we can still meet and say, yeah, we're still meeting, but we would be a clandestine lodge.
Right. We would no longer be officially recognized.
Correct.
Right? In our case, the Grand Lodge. In their case, the Grand Orient.
Unfortunately, with clandestine lodges, and this is where the problem is, and for any of those who are watching who don't know what a clandestine lodge is, they are not Masons. They are not affiliated to every Masonic lodge is affiliated to a Grand Lodge. If it's in the state of Connecticut, your Grand Lodge would be the state of Connecticut, New York, and so on and so forth. There's a grand overhead body that oversees them. Clandestine lodges don't have that. You'll get a clandestine lodge that says, oh yeah, our affiliation is to the Grand Lodge of Orlando. Wait, what?
Or there may be a Grand Lodge that would, for all intents and purposes, be regular Masons practice the same ritual that we do. But if our Grand Lodge, to which we owe, allegiance, doesn't recognize that other Grand Lodge, then all of the lodges under its jurisdiction to us are clandestine, and vice versa. Right,
exactly. Even like, for instance, International Freemasonry is not recognized by our Grand Lodge. It's not considered, they're considered clandies. Love the name Clandies.
I heard that one recently too, and I'm like, really?
I think Joe did it. I think Joe was the first one to say, "You're a Clandy."
You're a Clandy.
No, you were Papa George. Remember?
Are you a Clandy?
No, are you calling me a Clandy?
That puppet. He's something else.
He's something else. Papa George.
Now, you know what? Even though the
up,
Grand Orient in Italy did this to the P2 Lodge and expelled them to try to cut their ties with anything nefarious, it didn't really do anything for Freemasonry in Italy at that time, because in 1981, the government said that even regular Masonic lodges under the Grand Orient of Italy were outlawed, not recognized by the government because of the powers that be at that time.
Yeah, and they actually had an Article 18 of the Constitution of Italy that banned secret associations, and that's kind of what they like. Nope,
So it was a bad place to be a Mason anyway at that
time. So anyway, let's get into this stuff. So anyway, this lodge after 1974 is proposed that P2 be erased from the list of lodges, and the motion carried. But it actually didn't go into effect until 1976. So just for the record, they were no longer considered Masons in 1976. And actually, well, it even could be considered 1974. They pretty much put a kibosh to them.
Yep.
So it was in the process. It seems that the Grand Orient in 1976 had only suspended, but not actually expelled the lodge on Gielli's request. Gielli was found to be inactive in the Grand Orient's national affairs 2 years later, financing the election of a new Grand Master. Now that's funny. Financing.
So a clandestine Mason is starting campaigning.
He's campaigning
and funding it.
And funding it.
You don't see that in the U.S.
Yeah, that's again, it's just foreign masonry. This isn't the U.S., but you pulled that stuff over here. And
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Vote for me. Yeah, it'd be really bad.
Be Grandmaster.
The Grand Lodge would be handing out ass whoopings like it was nobody's business.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's get into the first thing. And this goes to March 1981. So this lodge is now clandestine. They are not part of the Grand Lodge or the Grand Orient of Italy. And I'll do this one because I thought this one was pretty cool. And then if you guys want to jump from here, you already know what it's about. I think so. Is this the one? Yeah. The activities of the P2 Lodge were discovered by prosecutors while investigating banker Michele Sidona. I hope I got that right. Tried my best Italian.
Close enough.
We don't have
I
Dan
think
up here, so.
you did all right.
Michele Sidona. I don't know. Again, Dan's not up here to correct my Italian, so I'm going to keep taking shots at him all night because this is an Italian lodge. The collapse of his bank and ties to the mafia. So this guy was involved in organized crime. And again, I just want to throw it out there that if any one of the Masons here or across the state were involved with anything illegal or ties to organized crime or anything like that,
Wouldn't
we
be
will
Masons anymore.
snatch your dues card in seconds. You will no longer be affiliated to us. I believe that you can, even on a misdemeanor, potentially have your dues cards ripped away from you, even though I don't know how it depends on the misdemeanor. Or even if you're, excuse me, maybe not a misdemeanor.
I think maybe the Masonic trial would have to ensue on a misdemeanor, but if it's a felony and you're
If it's a
convicted,
felony,
you're gone.
they will
That's
yank
it.
your card.
Yep.
Before there's even a Masonic trial, it's in our charges, it's in our duties as a Mason. If you have any type of felony, boom, you're gone. There's not even a debate about it. The Grand Master will yank your card, and that's the end of you. Pending the charges.
There can be a trial and a hearing for that.
There can be a trial and hearing, but pending, let's say that the charges out in this, whatever, I don't want to say civil court, but is that what it's considered, a civil court?
Usually it's criminal court.
Criminal court.
felony, yeah.
If you got found not guilty, now you got a leg to stand on. But they will yank you before that even happens with the hopes that you'll get it back if you're found not guilty. If you're guilty, you're done.
See, I think
Pretty confident
I might
of
be
that.
wrong, but I was pretty sure that you have to be convicted in order for them to
I also
start a trial
think
and take your dues card.
that if there's beyond the
Innocent
shadow of a
until
doubt,
proven
though.
guilty.
Yep. Oh, Gideon's on. What's up, Gideon? Yeah, I think you're innocent until proven guilty again. But if it's beyond a reasonable doubt, we know of cases where it's pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yep.
You're done. Like if they
What
show
cases are these you speak of?
no. Again, I've said it before. You know, every organization has its dirty little secrets. Not dirty secrets, but
bad seeds.
bad seeds. That's the word I'm looking for. So it happens. There's no organization on this planet that can sit there and say that every single member is squeaky clean, including Freemasonry's got what, 3 million in the United States, 6 million worldwide or better.
Yep.
How do you keep 6 million people with their noses clean?
Yeah.
You won't.
And sometimes those people
They're
do naughty things after they're already members too. So
Right.
it's like
There's also the guy in Australia. I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but it's kind of funny. But somebody posted the guy in Australia who's a former Mason who got shithoused and hid himself in a closet or inside the pipe organ.
oh, I see.
Of the-
Oh, I had
Grand-
not seen that. Oh my god.
in Australia. He got tanked and ended up hiding himself in the right. Am I right?
He was a
pipe
former
organ.
Mason.
He was a former Mason.
Former.
He got
he hid inside the pipe organ with a bunch of hamburgers or something. Yeah, it was
What the hell?
it was weird.
That is okay.
That's
I don't
freaking
even know how to
hilarious.
comment on that.
You could see yourself doing that, couldn't you?
Who can I see
No,
doing
I
that?
would never do that.
Probably half of Morningstar Lodge.
Messner.
Just oh my god!
Waking up in a pipe organ and a Masonic line.
Just Rafferty in the Chamber of Reflection with a bunch of freaking McDoubles and
The yellow and
Crying?
orange wrappers all over the place. And he's like, it's like that Hasselhoff video. Remember they had Hasselhoff? That's Rafferty.
on the bathroom floor. with a bird.
Yes.
the Chamber of Reflection, just in there crying. All
We were above that.
I'd like to think we're
I think so.
right, let's get.
at least most of us. But anyway,
He's gonna be so pissed if he signs.
we digress.
We digressed. Gideon Bookerman. What's up, Gideon from Amsterdam? In Holland, or excuse me, Holland. There's a case of a Mason who told his fellow Masons that he'd killed somebody, and his brothers refused to talk because he told them this in secret.
Was that Gideon the time you went for a bike ride?
He wasn't a Mason at that point.
Oh my God! It's got to be Gideon because he started listening to our podcast, and an old woman ended up perishing because he didn't make it there. It's not true at all, but it's funny to hold the pick on him.
Ken did make a good point where he was not a Mason. Yes, but
all right. Anyway, let's get back into the P2 because we got on a little tangent, which was funny as hell. But anyway, let's see here. Prosecutors. Let's try that again. I was reading too fast. Sorry, my fault.
Is that like a prostitute investigator?
Yes. Prosecutors, while investigating banker Michel Sedona after the collapse of his bank in ties to the mafia. In March 1981, police found a list of alleged members in Gielli's house in Arezzo.
Go with it.
We'll go with it. It contained 962 names, among which were important state officials, important politicians, and a number of military officers, including the head of the 3 Italian secret services.
Yeah.
Future Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. I'm doing this good.
I love how
I'm kicking ass.
You're putting the accent on it. You're doing all right.
Berlusconi. I'm doing a great job here. He was on the list, although he had not yet entered politics at the time. Another famous member was Victor Emmanuel, a son of the last Italian king.
Oh. Yeah, there were some powerful people.
Yeah, so this guy and Adam Weishaupt, they're basically right on point. Let me write down all my sketchy friends and put them on paper.
Not smart.
Yeah, he did the same thing as Adam Weishaupt.
So a little bit of background on the political scene at the time that all of these events are taking place in Italy. The government is very left-wing at this point. It's very Christian Democrat according to the Italian system. The individuals that were members of the P2 Lodge were very right-wing.
Right.
So it's important that we...
Ultra right-wing.
Ultra right-wing. So when we go through some of the things that happen and some of the events and some of the crimes that the P2 Lodge was implicated in, you got to think about the fact that the government was heavily left controlled and they were very right wing, and it adds a little bit of color to.
On top of that, what's the word? What's from that? I'm trying to think of. All I keep saying, I had a thought, and then Rocco screwed me all up because he said, read the headline again, and it's former Freemason naked inside pipe organ.
That's important.
This is a very important detail.
Definitely missed it.
Bare ass. It's definitely missed her. Oh, my God. All right. So
when you hit rock bottom, you can't eat burgers fully clothed.
No.
Right. You got to be naked.
Come on now.
At least half naked. But if you're going to do it, be all naked.
Oh, shit. A lot of these have been turning a lot sideways lately when we're trying to do serious topics. But, that's what I wanted to say. Now I remember. Just understand that there is a lot that happened with this P2 Lodge in Italy, and it's a lot to cover. So we're going to try doing our absolute best. If you're interested and you want to look into this, there's a lot to cover. And we can go for hours talking about this. But, Ken, you got the next one?
Yeah, sure. So
I know Joe don't.
We already talked about the banking scandal. Okay, so there was another. So this happened, I believe, in 1980. You guys know about the Bologna massacre?
No.
In Italy? Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I know about the Capicolo, though.
So we talked about this Gelli. Gelli? I forget how you're pronouncing him.
I said Gielli.
Gielli, even though there's no I.
Gelli.
Whatever.
Jelly.
So Gelli, who was the leader of the lodge at that time, he was I don't know if they still even called him master at that point, but he was in charge of that lodge. And he and other members of the lodge, along with the head of the Secret Service, or one of the Secret Service branches, were accused of attempting to impede the investigation of the Bologna massacre.
Ham got away.
Huh?
Nothing. Continue.
Okay. Bologna massacre occurred in Italy on August 2nd, 1980, and I guess 85 people were killed, and more than 200 people.
Did you say killed it?
I did say killed.
I just needed to point
What
that out.
happens when I read notes and try to.
I get shit all the time, but when I hear it,
For the record, I was gonna let it go because I only like picking on him. So.
oh hell no, I'm not letting that shit go. I catch it all the time. So you know what?
Done killed him. He done killed him.
Killed him.
Wrecked him. Damn near killed him.
So 85 people were killed. 200 were wounded in the Bologna massacre. It was a big deal in Italy, and they were implicated in not necessarily in doing anything to conduct it, but to impeding the investigation.
And why did the Bologna massacre happen? Is there like
the 1980 Bologna bombing? Let's take a
oh.
look. Bologna massacre was a terrorist bombing on the Bologna Centrale railway station in Bologna, Italy, on the morning of 2nd August 1980, which killed 85 people, wounded over 200. Several members of the neo-fascist terrorist organization Nuclei Armati Rivoluzionari, so the armed revolutionary nuclei, were sentenced for the bombing, although the group denied involvement. It was and there's pictures of it here in the railway station. I mean, they bombed the railway station full of people.
Wow.
Pretty messed up.
And why the hell would the Masonic Lodge or the
P2 Lodge, they were very clandestine at that point. This
clandestine lodge.
They were super clandy by 1980.
Right.
And they weren't implicated in the actual bombing. It was obstruction of justice. So they were messing around with the investigation the police were conducting. Probably because there were people who were members of the lodge that might have been people of interest in that investigation, and so ostensibly they went in and tried to mess up the investigation.
Right.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't know that was something that P2 was linked with until I started digging into it a little bit. And then the old Banco Ambrosiano scandal. I'm sure you guys.
That's what I was actually.
That's
what I was looking for, actually.
Okay, so I'll do a little bit of background.
That's the one with the Roberto Calvi.
Yeah,
the
Roberto
banker that
Calvi.
ended up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is one of the ones that pops up a lot on some of the Freemasonry exposed shows that you see on the History Channel.
Right.
Keep in mind, this did happen in 1982. So again, this lodge,
super clandestine,
and all of the people that are associated with it were super clandestine by that
bunch
point.
of clandies.
They were not recognized Masons. Masonry had nothing to do with this particular murder.
Right. Also, you're probably going to have to bust him out the second half. You know that, right? He's over there talking. You're going to have to.
Yeah, he's working the camera right now.
Yeah, I know.
He's got a lot to say about clandestine lodges. So this happened. Let's see. So the Banco Ambrosiano was one of Milan's big premier banks,
right?
And it was owned in part by the Vatican Bank.
Right. I was going to say they were
Vatican's,
affiliated with the Vatican in some way,
and they're involved in a lot of banking in Italy.
Yes,
especially at that point. And its president.
I also just want to add, while we're on that, the Vatican Bank was also accused of funneling covert United States funds to the Polish trade union Solidarity and to the Contras through Banco Ambrosiano.
Mm-hmm. Lech Walesa. He ran that Solidarność Polish thing. No, he did. Lech Walesa was the head of that Polish.
Oh, really?
union.
I did not know that. I'm
half Polak.
I thought you were just going in on a freaking rant. That's how I'm like, oh.
Lech Walesa was the head of that. That movement.
So
anyway, the president of Banco Ambrosiano.
So they were doing some shady stuff.
Was Roberto Calvi. Okay, and Roberto Calvi was found hanging underneath. I believe it was the Blackfriars Bridge, if I'm not.
I believe you're correct. Yeah.
Yep.
Hanging underneath the bridge, dead, obviously, with bricks in his pocket.
Yes.
And that was, if you watch these Freemasonry shows, it's, the Masons, obviously they work with cement, and cement has something to do with with bricks. So it must have been the Freemasons that had something in it. Yeah, okay. Well, the P2 Lodge, definitely some members of that lodge were involved in this murder, but
what?
It wasn't found to.
Oh, you got a Papa George thing?
I don't.
Well,
Papa George does.
Okay, what?
That gives new meaning to hit the bricks.
Yeah. So anyway, initially that was that murder was ruled a suicide, and then it got reopened as a murder investigation.
Well, here's another interesting thing.
Some of the pieces.
Calvi was a member of the Licio Gelli's Gelly, whatever his name is, illegal Masonic Lodge propaganda do. So Calvi was a member of it, who referred to themselves as the Frati Neri, or Black Friars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of symbolical that he was found underneath the bridge with stone or bricks in his pocket, because ancient stonemasons made stones and used brick.
Sure.
So that's why it's attributed to them.
So he was a former member of that lodge, which, by the way, is a clandestine lodge.
Yes, we want to keep stressing the fact that this is
alert. This is not how we deal with our former members.
No, this is not at all. It's actually. Do you want to quickly talk about how we deal with our former members, whether they're dropped NPD or by doing shady shit? What do we do, boys?
Yeah, so if you don't pay your dues, you can be suspended or expelled. If you are found guilty of a Masonic crime, you can be suspended or expelled.
Or reprimanded.
But how do we, as active Masons, if we bang into these people, how do we deal with them?
We do not communicate Masonically with them, which means basically you're no longer a brother of the fraternity. You're just somebody we know on
the severity
on the road.
Depending on the severity, I won't even talk to you.
Yeah.
I won't even associate.
Turn your back on me.
I will turn your back on you. Depending on what you did.
If it's something egregious, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. If it's an NPD, no, I'm not going to obviously be like, walk the hell away from you. Like, I'm not going to be rude. But if I find out that you're like a child diddler or something, and you're like, no, I'm good. Goodbye.
Yeah. Hopefully you're not still on the street with you.
If you end up not getting punched in the face. Just want to add that too.
But I mean, NPDs and stuff, I mean, they can always come back into the fraternity. You just pay what you owe and you're back. You're a brother again. You're still a brother, I believe, even when you're NPD. You just can't communicate sonically, go to meetings.
And you can even, we've even had
turned my back on one.
We've had NPD brothers come and join us for dinner.
Yeah.
And they just can't attend the state communication, but they're still Masons. They can still enjoy the fellowship of the evening. But when it comes to official Masonic business, they gotta go.
Okay. So before we take our break, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back. But brother Peter Daigle, he gave us a breakdown of the word "kilded." Verb
God.
1, used for when you read a history book about people being killed. 2, to describe some that you've killed multiple times and made sure that they're dead. See Rasputin.
Rasputin, zombies.
Oh boy,
killed it. Oh,
thanks, brother Peter.
Worship brother Joseph Schultz. I thought he said kilted. Your turn, Ken. Guess what?
85.
No one's immune. No one is immune.
The massacre.
Let's see here. And I think that's all we got.
Well, the other thing I want to add here is when they were searching after that whole Friar Bridge and Roberto Calvi thing went down, they were actually searching Gelly's, what they call a villa. So it must have been very nice.
McMansion.
They actually found some documents, and this is probably where a lot of that New World Order, taking over the world, Alex Jones crap comes from.
Yep.
They found a document entitled Plan for Democratic Rebirth, which called for a consolidation of the media, suppression of trade unions, and the rewriting of the Italian Constitution. Right. So there were members in that group that did actually want to overthrow.
Well, and here's half the problem. Government. If you read in the beginning, what I was basically saying, why is because first off, they're getting high-ranking members, but they also had the Christian Democratic Party against them.
Yep.
So imagine if, I'm just throwing hypothetical, let's just say, and I don't want to use Republican or Democrat, we'll use Green Party.
Okay.
Let's say the Green Party's agenda was we're getting rid of secret societies, including the Freemasons, Shriners, we're getting rid of them.
And they came to power.
If you think that Freemasonry wouldn't find a way to fight back, or every single Freemason in this country wouldn't vote against them if they were like the top ticket, let's just say for, shits and giggles, Green Party was at the top of the thing. If you don't think that the silent majority of Freemasons wouldn't go vote against that Green Party for someone else to win, you got another thing coming.
Yep.
So that's pretty much, and again, I'm not by any means saying that I understand or agree with the P2 Lodge in any way, shape, or form, but they were actively trying to undermine what the Democratic or what the Christian Democratic Party in Italy was doing at the time.
Yeah.
So that's why you have all these documents.
Who didn't like Freemasonry or any secret societies to
Correct,
begin with,
correct.
and also the people that were members of that lodge. Now in Freemasonry, we have brothers from all walks of life in all of our
Right.
lodges. Doesn't matter what your political
Correct.
affiliation
Mhm.
is. The way that they constructed their lodge is everybody was of a very
High,
similar
yes.
political mind, and it happened to be against what the
And they
ruling
were all
party in Italy.
Yeah,
was.
they were all high officials. That's what I
Yeah.
was going to get at too. Yes,
So-
they're like mine, but also high officials as well. So you have
We don't conspire against the government.
no.
We're in fact forbidden from doing that.
We're forbidden from even talking politics, or we're told to be quiet, peaceable people of the and quietly. What's the word I'm looking for?
Quietly submit.
Quietly
Yeah.
submit to the local
So,
authorities, basically,
Yep.
in so many words.
In
So,
which you live.
Yeah, that's,
in
that's
which- right.
a charge that we're given in our degree of,
Right.
which I always, it's funny when you think about that and then talk about, many of our founding fathers and leading revolution and
Yeah,
have been
right.
accused of starting the French Revolution as well. It's like,
And we're actually told not to foment revolution.
correct.
And yet,
Right.
during the Revolutionary War, it was
We were-
a bunch of
Well-
Masons, so we're doing
I think
different time.
But I think the defense of that is it was because they were fighting out against not a government, but against tyranny
yes,
and a tyrannical government
Yes.
that had gone off the rails and had gone rogue.
and I mean,
And it was
realistically, a
their
monarchy
duty.
is no different than a tyranny, no different than a despot.
Yeah.
You have a king
Who thinks he's given
who
his
thinks
power
he's-
from God.
right?
Yeah, you got to do something about
You
that.
got. I mean, it's a dictator government for the most part, monarchy. It stays within family lines. So, you know, King George III or whatever. He was a descendant of King George II, or and all the way back. Then you have Henry's and everything, but it all pretty much stayed in line.
Yep.
So the common people didn't have
They had no voice.
they had no voice.
No.
It was whatever he wanted. All right, brothers, what do you say? We take a quick break.
Sure.
Take a quick
Works.
break. All right, we'll be back.
Arrivederci, bitches.
If you guys got questions, you got anything you want to add to this? What's up, James McGuire? Long time no see, brother.
Oh.
Actually, no, I see
We have
him
any
last Saturday.
P2 scholars out
Yeah,
there?
P2 scholars, fire him in. We're gonna take a break, but if Joe's gonna, what are you gonna do? Joe?
Rocco and Dan.
What are you gonna do?
Oh,
Are you gonna do something, or are you gonna
do you
just?
want me to sing?
You could do that, or you could do Puppet George talking about
You
Clandies,
can do
whatever you want.
anything you want, baby.
Well, I think-
Actually, the kids were asking for Puppet George. They really were.
yeah.
Yeah, they were requesting. But when's Puppet George gonna come out and play again?
All right, grab the puppet.
All right.
Grab the puppet.
Puppet it is.
You guys are going to regret this decision.
Uh-oh. Hey, I forgot.
Oh, he still got the shackles on. He broke his chain.
What happened? When did he get chained?
He was
He was
shackled
at the
to
car
top
show,
of
and
his-
he was being unruly.
Oh, I
He ended
didn't.
up seeing Betty Boop breaking his chains and then hauling ass. So
I had not noticed that the other evening. Should we release him from his?
Hammer.
Here, don't tell you.
Oh, it's raining. Hello.
Can you hold this with him?
No, I'm not holding it out of
Oh,
here.
come on.
Yeah.
You weren't even
No,
trying.
take that thing away.
So are we doing listeners' questions with Puppet George? Is that the plan?
Listeners' questions about the P2 Lodge.
Wow, that's pretty specific.
Or whatever. You want to ask Puppet George a question? Ask him how the car show was with Betty Boop.
I have been advised by my counselors not to talk about that. Pending investigation, I cannot discuss.
Restraining order.
Hold on.
It's an active investigation.
Hold on. This is gonna be something going on Patreon right here. All right, Joe.
Because the kids want to ask me some questions.
No, I'm scared of that.
I'm scared of the puppet. It's just a puppet. He has weird facial expressions.
Don't be afraid. I'm just a puppet.
Yeah.
Hey, Puppet George.
Hey, is that giggly kid gonna start taking his shirt off again like last time?
Does Puppet George like vodka and cranberry?
Cranberry for
Go on, it's Patreon.
Only if I have a UTI. So this isn't live, right? This isn't going Facebook Live.
Oh yeah, those Facebook.
Well, then it's not Patreon only.
That's all right.
Just
Don't drop an F-bomb or say anything dirty.
2 white horses fell in the mud. Ah! How's that for dirty?
I get it.
Horn blows.
I know what's next.
Just saying.
Do you have to hold it in order for it to work?
What?
It's not working.
Rocco Alfonsetti, what's wrong with vodka and cranberry? Orange vodka and cran is like a Tic Tac.
Yeah, if you're like a 16-year-old girl at a frat party.
Seriously.
Rocco should be drinking Sambuca or something like that.
Maybe he was part of the P2 Lodge.
Part of the Penis Lodge.
It's not working. Try it. It's not really trying.
You know,
It's
he's
not.
tried that one on me too.
No, try it. You know.
Put it
Just try it. I want to see if it works.
It does work.
No, it doesn't. I tried it. Try it. Try it.
No,
I just want to see if it works.
it does work.
No, it doesn't. When I did
Give it
it.
to me.
No.
Give it to me. I'll
Rafferty and Messner are watching now. Too bad they weren't watching before
No.
when they were getting picked on.
Oh, Rafferty.
Messner and Rafferty.
Rafferty,
were
yeah, Rafferty and Messner.
more
Oh,
like-
so I wanted to add, Rocco actually added more to that conversation, and Rocco said, Rocco Alfonsetti,
Stop.
Georgie, stop. Former Freemason 51 found drunk and naked inside a huge pipe organ with toy gun and remote-controlled police car, says he got lost while trying to hand out cheeseburgers to the homeless. That's a good night. I'm not going to lie. That's a good night.
A toy gun and a remote control police car.
Yes. And he was handing out cheeseburgers to the homeless.
But he ended up eating the
Yep.
cheeseburgers in the organ. I remember that from the story.
Gideon Bookelman.
Caused massive-
Hey, the little Dutch boy.
When is Puppet George having his date with a female puppet? He's like the 40-year-old virgin. Tell her what you did to, if you go on our fan page, if you tell him what you did to Betty Boop.
Oh, you'll have to see the video that I'm releasing in about a week. Let's just say Betty Boop is now called Betty Bopped. Ah!
Greg Schultz, is that kid taller than George Andrew Mudry the fifth? He's getting there. Talking about Georgie,
No.
my
Who's
kid.
the fifth? You?
I'm the fifth. He's the sixth.
Okay.
Oh man, that's funny.
Poor Betty Boop.
How about the stormtrooper you molested too? Every
Way to
time.
go, jackass!
What's this thing?
Frickin' Tarwood almost took out the whole goddamn show.
You know that's twice you've done that too.
I can usually pick my legs up.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Jesus,
Hold
Ken.
on, I got it.
You're all messed
It's gonna wreck the whole show.
Nope.
No, I got it.
All right.
This is gonna go like that.
Oh, shit. Keep going. Other way. Toward the door. Keep going. Good.
I think you're good.
Yeah,
Nah,
good.
too far. Well,
You're good.
it's delayed. Now you're horrible.
No.
He's messing with
Well, okay, it's delayed. You
He's
get.
delayed. I'm watching live. Oh,
There you
God,
go.
That's funny.
You think those ghost legs would have gone right through the wire, but it took out the whole freaking camera. What kind of ghost are you?
I'm having a bad day.
Oh God.
What's next? What else can go wrong?
You
You
can
gonna
get
shock me?
You can get gravy
Oh, he
trained by a puppet like Betty Boop did.
Gravy train.
She's not the only one riding this gravy train. Should see what I did to Raggedy Ann. Before me, she was just called Ann.
Oh my God.
This is not good.
You wanted the puppet.
You know that's the second time you've kicked that camera over. Right?
I know. That's number two.
That's number two.
I mean, the first time it was off. We weren't live.
The first time it was off.
Yeah. Now everybody sees what happens.
The best part is,
Dude, you know what? I walked 2.5 miles or something this
Gideon
morning.
said it
I
looked
can't
like
pick my
Google
legs up.
Earth.
360-degree view.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, that was funny.
This is why we need more Patreon members.
I'm not gonna lie. This
need
is
better
beautiful.
equipment
You
that
want
I
to know
don't
why
trip
this is
over.
beautiful?
So, what?
Because it's usually me.
That's really disconcerting when he does that. Man. You gotta stop. Like pushes the chin out.
Rocco said, "Everyone now knows what Ken's tonsils look like." Boop.
That wasn't his tonsils. Ah!
The best part is it's usually me doing the screw ups and the flubbers, right?
Right.
This
Tonight's
time
Ken's night.
it's Ken. It's his night. Like-
Between kilted.
You guys.
Arrivederci!
Oh God. All right.
What time's the train coming by?
And I'm back.
All right. All right.
Or were you going back to our regular recording?
Yeah, in 2 seconds.
Is Puppet staying or going away?
Oh, hold on 1 second. I just want to see something.
Stay.
I'll show you something.
I just want to see one last thing, and then we'll fire it back up. Oh God, that was funny. What?
Yeah, this is. We can't have a serious conversation about
we can't.
P2 with that thing.
We can't. Now with the freaking puppet out.
Do I have to go away again? Okay.
Go play with the kids, Puppet George.
Actually, come here, Georgie. Your mom's watching. She's gonna be watching in a second.
Uh-oh.
Give here. No, stay right there.
Don't kick the camera.
Yeah,
You hold that.
that would be unprecedented.
As soon as she logs on,
We're going to shock the kid.
yeah, I'm gonna shock the kid. Stand over here in front of the camera.
Oh, don't do it.
All right.
Do it.
Oh, I'm waiting for her to pop on.
I hope you set it to like 3.
I'm setting it to like
300.
I'm gonna hit him with 100 whack.
No, don't do that.
This is probably gonna be considered child abuse, but
Probably.
oh God, this is funny. She's taking too long, Georgie. Never mind.
Thank God.
Yeah, she's taking too long. All right. Go sit down, Georgie. Another time.
All
All right. Puppet's
All
going
right. Puppet's going away. You want to sit him next to you? You're just trying to sit him on the table? Let him be?
Good. Yeah, he's fine like that.
Oh, you're going to sit him like that? All
Yeah.
He's doing like a yoga move there.
All right.
You're just jealous.
I am.
You'd do it too if you could.
Yep. Not as flexible as I used to be.
All
You
right.
just proved that.
Hey, I walked. I did a walk. I didn't run like you, but I did a walk this morning for charity, and my legs are kind of on fire. I'm not going to
Definitely shouldn't be a hurdler in high school.
I was not a hurdler in high school. I didn't do any of that track and field stuff.
All right. Let's fire it back up. We've
You
had
seem
enough
like a
fun.
pole vault kind of guy.
Nope. Too tall for the pole vault.
All right. We're gonna shut. I'm gonna shut down the break. This little intermission. It's gonna go on
All right,
Patreon.
I'm going back.
All right, we're going back.
God help us.
All right. Ready, guys?
We're going back on P2.
We're going back on P2. 5, 4, 3, and we are back. And we are going to be talking about P2 Lodge. We've already pretty much covered the one guy hanging from underneath the bridge. We've covered the notes and all the fun noise of all the different people they had inside. And Ken, what else you got here?
I just have the Protozoan account.
Whoa.
All right.
Yeah. So, excuse me. What this was about was one of the documents that was found in 1981 after an investigation, and it was about a numbered bank account, which was nicknamed, I guess, the Protozoan account, the Union Bank of Switzerland in Lugano. And it basically talked about the payment, a $7 million US payment by the president of ENI Florio Fiorini, through Roberto Calvi, who we heard about earlier, to the Italian Socialist Party, PSI, who was led by Claudio Martelli on behalf of Bettino Craxi, the socialist prime minister from 1983 to 1987. So some more political intrigue and obviously a lot of money changing hands. So that was another crime, or not really. Well, I guess technically it was a crime, but that was the P2 Lodge was implicated in that.
Right.
And let's see, the full extent of the payment only became clear 12 years later in 1993 during Mani Pulite, which is Italian for clean hands, investigations into political corruption. And obviously P2 was really big into, as part of their manifesto for the democratic rebirth of Italy. Right. They said that a lot of it was going to require, a lot of money changing hands and corruption. Right. In order for that to take place. The money was allegedly a kickback on a loan, which the socialist leaders had organized to help bail out the Banco Ambrosiano. Kind of interesting. I mean, it kind of speaks to...
It was money laundering, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it was also funneling money to... a
political party.
Politicians that they approved of.
Right.
And obviously it was completely counter to the ruling party in Italy at the time. So they were trying to subvert the government. And this was obviously frowned upon by the people in power at the time.
What I have is the Parliamentary Commission of Inquiry.
Okay.
Parliamentary Commission of Inquiry, headed by Anselmi, concluded that the P2 Lodge was a secret criminal organization. So they actually criminalized them. Allegations of... I put it right back on me. Surreptitious international relationship.
Surreptitious.
Thank you.
Surreptitious meaning
That's a tough one. That would have George would have failed on a spell. I'm sorry.
Surreptitious means under the radar, under the table.
Yep. So allegations of this under international relationships, mainly with Argentina, and we know Argentina is.
There's a lot of South American P2 affiliates.
There's a lot of sketchy stuff that happens down there. No offense, just being honest.
Just when it comes to P2.
He repeatedly suggested that he was close friends of Juan Perino, and with some suspected affiliation with the American Central Intelligence Agency, were also partly confirmed. Oof. Soon a political debate overtook a legal level of analysis. The majority reported that the P2 action resulted in the pollution of the public life of a nation and aimed to alter, often in decisive fashion, the correct functioning of the institutions of the country, according to the project intended to undermine our democracy. So what they basically concluded is that this P2 Lodge was trying to do some shady stuff to undermine the natural political process for the most part, is what it's saying.
At the very least, manipulate it.
I don't want to get political, but it sounds kind of familiar to what we're going through today.
There are some similarities.
The minority report by Massimo
Say it with confidence.
Tidori concluded that P2 was not just an abnormal outgrowth from a essentially healthy system as upheld by the majority report, but an inherent part of the system itself, which means this wasn't just an actual pop-up out of disdain. This is something that was intentionally used to manipulate things. So and then the new Italian law prohibiting secret lodges, even though outlawed by fascist dictator Benito Mussolini in 1925, which is, if you're interested, you can go back to Freemasonry in Nazi Germany, our episode about that, and you'll hear all about the fascists and how their treatment of Freemasonry was. Masonic institutions have been tolerated in Italy since the end of World War II and are quite open about their activities and membership. So after Benito Mussolini was basically hung upside down and beat the hell out of him, they got rid of their dictator. They were tolerated. All right, you guys can go back to doing what you were doing.
Usually, when a governmental body says Freemasonry is not cool, it usually means
That's
there's something
not a good
going
sign.
wrong with
Right.
that government. Because
Right.
if you look in history,
Right.
every time that happens, it's because they're trying to.
And you also have, in that same respect, you have a lot of Mason lodges pushing back against it. When they start getting dictatorish and they start basically telling, infringing on people's rights to organize, and that's pretty much Freemasonry is protected in our Constitution, the right to organize, basically. That's
Dictators don't like free thought.
They don't like free thought. They don't like
or large organized groups that promote free thought,
or things that are behind closed doors for the most part. But a special law was issued that prohibited secret lodges. The Grande Oriente d'Italiano. After
Wasn't bad. That's not bad.
good, right?
It's the Grand Orient of Italy, baby.
Do it again.
I'm digging this.
Do it again.
Grande Oriente d'Italiano. I'm doing good here.
Okay.
I'm proud of myself right now. Ken's the one who's sucking it up.
Yeah. Usually I'm better than this. I'm sorry.
Kicking cameras and murdered or whatever he said.
Kilted.
Kilted. Okay.
Kilded.
After taking discipline.
Stay in school, kids.
Be a thinker, not a stinker.
After taking disciplinary action against the members of P2 with P2 connections, distanced itself from Jellies, whatever his freaking name is.
Jelly.
His lodge, Gelly, thank you. His lodge. Other laws introduce a prohibition on membership in allegedly secret organizations for some categories of state officials.
Now that's interesting because is Masonry really a secret organization? I would have to see what their legal definition of that is because we publish our membership rolls, or at least who our officers are. We have websites. We invite people to open houses. We're a society with secrets, but would we be considered by the letter of their law?
It's a really
secret?
gray area. To me, it's a really gray area because
I'd love to read the
you
text
can't
of
The
that.
actual wording on it.
you
Yeah.
can't actually, if you're an outsider, you cannot come up during a meeting night, knock on the door, and walk in the door.
Yeah.
It's so, in a sense, that would be secretive.
Yeah, but you know what? City council meetings are the same way.
I mean, you could even go say like the Bohemian Grove is a secret society,
Right.
but you can't walk into Bohemian Grove and not get escorted out for trespassing and arrested.
So
it's a funny area.
We'd have to read the actual text in that law,
Right.
I guess,
I'm trying to find it for you.
Right.
because right now, I mean, Freemasonry is still a thing in Italy right
Mhm.
now. So I don't know if that
Mhm.
law ever got rescinded or whether it's just the interpretation of it changed.
And here we go. These laws have been recently questioned by European Court of Human Rights. So you have a European court now saying this law might not be legal in a
But
sense.
as recently as 2004, in a court case in Italy, Maestri versus Italy,
Mhm.
February 2004, the court held that inflicting disciplinary measures on an Italian judge because of his members in the Order of Masons violated his freedom of associated rights under the European Convention on Human Rights, Article 11.
Correct.
So maybe that's taking a turn for the better right now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a really gray area.
I'd love to hear from if there's any community members out there that are Italian Masons. You guys can let us know what the
Dan, if
climate
you're
is
watching.
like there.
So I found the actual text that's
Dan
in there
doesn't
for
tell.
Article 18, and I can read that to you.
No,
So
go for
Article 18. Citizens have the right to form associations freely without authorization for ends which are not forbidden to individuals by criminal law.
Right.
Secret associations and those which pursue, even indirectly, political ends by the means of organizations of a military character
Mhm.
are prohibited. So I think once P2 started to get involved with the political landscape of things,
They were like,
that's
all right,
where Article 18 was like, all right,
yeah,
you're.
we're banning that kind of
Right.
secret society.
Right.
And I think once they went clandestine, they were no longer recognized. Now they're this secret association that has political motives.
Mm.
Boom, you're done. You're out.
That explains why persecuting this judge over being a Mason in Italy was found unconstitutional.
Yep.
Or a violation of his associated rights because
So there you have it. Ciao.
interesting. Ciao,
Rocco,
Bella.
good luck looking for corruption in Italy. That dig does not go deep.
Why is Rocco not here for this discussion?
I don't know.
He would have been perfect.
I
for this.
don't know.
Being watched. I was
Mm.
afraid. It's cringy. according to Rocco.
It's
Cringy.
it's interesting how they word that though. It's worded almost like at least for my interpretation, it's worded almost like they're condemning it but not.
Well, they're saying, hey, if you guys are
You can
actively
do it.
getting together in secret and fomenting revolution against the government,
Right,
we
that you
ain't
can't
cool with
do.
you. Yeah.
Right.
But
You can get together,
You
just
can get
don't
together.
plot against the government.
But now again, how do you regulate what they're talking about, especially behind closed doors in a secret society?
good point.
How do you regulate that? Do they have to present their minutes?
Well, I wonder if
And then
under-
who's the one who's recording the minutes?
if under the Grand Orient of Italy, I don't know if they have the same rules that I would imagine they do about not discussing politics or religion in open lodge, then that's how you know, because it's in their constitution.
And maybe that's why
So
P2 ended up
right.
getting freaking canned.
Right.
Because of
they
that.
were,
They
yeah.
were actively participating in undermining or talking
Yeah.
politics in lodge.
I'd love to
And
know
don't
if
be
that
sur-
were the actual reason.
Right. And don't be
Yeah.
surprised if maybe some other lodges or Freemasons within Italy didn't
Mesmer.
want that black mark against them
Mm.
and said, hey, we're not associating with them. They're doing something that we don't want to, that we agree is
Right.
not good. We're kind of tossing them out, and then
Right.
maybe somebody's dropping a dime on them to somebody else.
Yeah,
But
it's
it just feels like, you hear things, people hear things, and then they want to take action, much like
Yeah.
with this podcast. But I'm not going to go down that road.
nicely done.
You like that?
Well played.
Yeah,
Again,
you read something in the newspaper, assume it to be fact.
I think
I guess in 2015,
Behaving.
in 2015, Gelly died.
Yes, it was
Before
not
that.
that long ago.
Yeah.
Rocco Alfonsetti, George's Italian accent is real bad. Don't try that hard. All I think is just the movie Euro Trip. Ah, me scusi.
I think about Inglorious Bastards. Arriva Dirt.
Arrivederci. Yeah, that was great. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Like, he
That
just
movie
didn't
was
care.
hysterical.
Oh god, it was so good.
It's like these are my Italian photographers.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever he said. I don't even know how you say hello in Italian. Hannah, how do you say Italian? Hello in Italian. What?
Salve or ciao.
Ciao is goodbye, isn't it?
It's like aloha.
Oh, it was like good day, right? It was
for both. Ciao,
Buongiorno.
Francesco Rinaldi.
It's a freaking spaghetti sauce.
I only know so much.
Buongiorno.
Oh, that movie was
Anthony,
great.
it's Prince Spaghetti.
Salve. He goes, Buongiorno. And then he starts rattling off a bunch of things in Italian. He goes, he looks around and he's like, Buongiorno. And he's just saying it again because he didn't know what else to say. It's the only two words he used.
His Tennessee accent. Oh, God. Such a good movie.
That was a great movie. That was a funny movie. But definitely Euro Trip and the guys on the train.
Still
He
haven't
puts his
seen it.
hand on the kid's leg. And he's like moving his leg, trying to get it off. He goes, excuse me. Ah, mi scusi. And then they go in a tunnel and then he come out and he's rubbing his shoulders. He's like, what are you doing? Ah, mi scusi. He starts rubbing his shoulders again.
Someday I'll see this movie.
Yeah, someday. You'll laugh. It's pretty funny.
We'll watch it here one night.
Oh, we got the projector.
We
Yeah.
do. We should have a Masonic movie night.
We really should.
We should. Not with Puppet George, though, this time.
Wait, the guy had to pee one time, and now you're upset with him.
Yeah, we just threw the whole episode away because of that.
All right,
I really
fellas.
can't find anything about their charter revocation.
Yeah, no. My assumption is that's what it was. And that's, again, my complete assumption is that in noise box.
Who?
Messner. Captain
It's him
Slappy.
getting in the organ with the cheeseburgers. Naked.
He's winding up the toy car.
Poor Messner has no idea.
He has no idea. He'll be pissed when he listens this back. Anyway, what was I going to say? Other than that, I think, the only thing I could think of with P2 is that's probably what was going on. Somebody caught wind that they were doing some political shady stuff. Because, again, somebody probably, was a Mason and didn't like what was going on in the lodge, ran to the Grand Lodge, told them what was being talked about and what was happening in lodge. They could have, Grand Lodges, and they could have who knows? They could have put a probe in that lodge and found out that these were confirmed. And there you go. Could you be any louder in the other room? Any louder?
Listen to my text message.
We don't listen to text messages. We read them.
We're in the middle of a
Jackass.
podcast. We don't read anything.
But anyway, that's my assumption. Is that's what happened? Greg Schultz, you cannot stop political discourse. Even within Masonry, politicking takes place to move up the chairs or get on grand staff.
To a very minimal extent,
I think
in so much as it's banned in this jurisdiction, people try not to do that. I mean, obviously, we kind of know who's like, if it's a progressive line, we know who's next in line. We know whether or not they're qualified to get to the next chair.
There's nothing wrong in Freemasonry with saying, I'm willing to serve.
Right.
There's a problem with saying, I will lower dues, vote for me.
Yeah.
Vote for me and I'll put you as one of my wardens.
Yep.
Vote for me and I'll do this. Vote for me and I'll do that.
That's what we try.
That is where you draw the line. And if you start doing that, that's when you run into a problem.
Absolutely.
And, it's okay to say that you're going to serve, but to actually make deals in order to swindle your way in is not very Masonic.
Express your interest, make your interest known.
Right.
Let everybody know you're willing to do it if so elected, and it falls where it falls.
I think with this Geely, what are we calling him? Geely, whatever we're calling him now. We'll just call him
Francesco Rinaldi.
I can't just call him the G because that's already in Gideon. But I think what this guy was actively doing was he probably was a political activist who did not like what was happening. This is, again, all my assumption. And you guys can...
That's what it sounds like.
Different opinion.
Based on the evidence that
this guy was pissed off that the Christian Democrats were trying to shut him down. He was a political activist against them. He started finding like-minded people to join him in this effort. Said, hey, I got a lodge of a bunch of guys and we got some money. We'll start moving things around. We'll shake the tree and we'll kick these guys out. And that's what I think happened. And I think that
sounds reasonable.
Somebody probably in Lodge had a problem with it. Said, hey, there's some shady shit going on here in P2. They went to the Grand Lodge. The Grand Lodge put somebody in play to find out exactly what was going on. I mean, no different than what our Grand Lodge would do.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to come in. They're not going to come in with a guy wearing purple.
Yeah,
they're going to come in with a guy who's got a dues card saying I'm from Ashlar Aspetuck Lodge when he's actually a Grand Lodge eyeballs. He's a pro.
He's a narc.
He's a narc.
Yeah. Snitches get stitches.
But and that's probably what happened.
Voice. I tried to. I should have said it in a Puppet George voice.
So you have. So now you have a confirmation from a member of the lodge who has a problem with it. You have a confirmation from the Grand Lodge's probe saying, yeah, this is exactly what they're talking about. And I seen what freaking Ray Collette wrote, or what Right Worship Brother Ray Collette wrote. He said probed.
Grand Lodge probes.
But that's what basically happened. So now, this guy comes back with his full story.
Yep.
And the Grand Lodge said, oh, wow, this is really what's going on. Let's shut him down. They got shut down. They didn't stop what they were doing because they didn't care about Freemasonry up to that point. Their main goal was to shut down this Christian Democratic Party.
Right. They were purely
that was their motives
at that point. Right.
They were just using the lodge as a cover, so to speak. And they continued on. And that's what ended up leading with the guy with bricks in his pocket underneath the bridge.
It's really a weird story when you think about it. Like, I can't remember anything like that appearing anywhere in the history of Freemasonry outside of this incident.
I mean, the only other thing you say is the Morgan affair, and basically we found out that Lucinda Pendleton was the whole reason for that.
Yeah. Sweet Lucinda Pendleton.
Who was a ginger, by the way. We should close out this episode on the podcast with little Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge. That'd be a good little outro.
Yeah, that actually would. Yeah.
All right. Whatever you guys want to do. I think we're pretty much close to closing out anyway. I think we've covered as much as we can. Again, there's more to this. This is a deep rabbit hole with this lodge, but I think we pretty much surmised what they were all about. So
it's hard to summarize it too when we're not in Italy and there's not a lot of context here for
Greg Schultz. I love doing this. I love when other people mess up because Greg Schultz, right? My pointy is, I don't want to hear about your pointy, is that you can't stop political discourse. He's absolutely right. You can't.
Yeah, that's true.
If you catch when someone is watching clicks form, that's clicks, I think. CLICHES.
He put cliches, but
Oh, cliches.
but he
okay.
means clicks. It's a QUES.
Oh no, absolutely. In clicks will form, regardless of political discourse, and you could take political in different ways. I mean, it could be as simple as inside of lodges. You know, we want to raise dues, we want to lower dues, and you're going to get a divide on that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always going to have, you know, the one side against the other, and it's very rare. And luckily, in our lodge, we ended up pretty much dispelling that. I guess the yays outweighed the nays, and the nays kind of moved away. But it was here too. Like every lodge has it, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. It's just, and again, I want to say that having a difference of opinion is not wrong. It's how you conduct yourself during that difference of opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that conduction of how you act weighs heavy.
Be respectful in your disagreements with other Masons.
So, what do you think, brothers? We'll lock it up?
Lock it up.
Lock it up. We'll come back Thursday. We'll do something else. We'll come up with a subject of, hey, if you guys are watching and there's something you guys want to hear about, chime in. Let us know. Rocco said it might be pronounced Yelly. That's a good point.
Yeah.
The guy's name.
Rocco would know.
That's why I think we should have had at least one Italian up here.
We should have. At least one.
I'm only like a quarter.
Dan's a fake Italian, so.
Half or something.
Yeah, but we could ask him. It'd be funny to ask him a bunch of Italian questions.
It would be.
Anybody knows
Or
the
pronunciations. We'll just refer to Dan on it. He'll probably knock him out of the park,
Yeah,
though.
he
That would
probably
piss
will.
me
Probably,
off,
but
though,
they're-
and then ruin the whole damn
So
skit.
languages are pretty similar.
All right. So if you guys want to hear something else that you want to talk about, we've covered P2, I think, as best as we possibly can without sitting here for 6 hours. But Greg Schultz, it's hard to type thoughts in one sentence and have the received decode them in the way that they are intended. Oh, and F you.
I think we heard that loud and clear.
Yeah, I got that one.
That was very clear.
That was funny. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. So, all right, let's shut it down, brothers.
Sounds good.
Very well.
For the Freemasons podcast, I am your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Mudry, signing off.
Workful Brother Joe signing off.
Worshipful Brother Ken signing off.
Have a good night, everyone.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody on Facebook. Thanks for watching.
Thanks
guys.
for watching. Thanks
Cheers.
for participating.